Hello guys, host from Douglas Traven here, and today I'm going to be interviewing Rupert Degas. So how are you, Rupert?
I'm very well. How are you?
Pretty good. First of all, how did you get into all this voice acting?
Oh, wow. Okay, we're jumping straight in with the big question. How did I get into it? I started doing dubbing for things when I was after I left school. I was an actor, and I did voiceovers when I was a kid, and yeah, I started doing dubbing little European fairy tales into English. And this director called Robert Rietti, who was known as the man of a thousand voices, used to say, "Rupert, would you go up to the microphone and give me voice 23B for this young chap?" And there's an Irish priest here. How's your Irish accent? And so what ended up happening was I just started mimicking people and doing accents and doing voices. And I thought, oh, this is fun. It just kind of went from there, really. And then suddenly I discovered the wonderful world of animation through Japanese manga and Japanese anime, and that's how I started. And one thing led to another. You meet directors, you meet fellow actors, you meet different producers, and then you start building your network. And then the next thing you know, um, you're a professional voice actor.
Nice. The next question is, and this is basically the reason for the interview. So um, how did you start working with Hit Entertainment?
My very dear friend Bill Dufries. I don't know whether you know who Bill
I know
Dufries
who he
is.
is. I've heard of him.
Right. So he's no longer with us, unfortunately. He passed away 5 years ago. He got cancer very sadly. But Bill and I were great chums, and he was an American and he lived in London, and he was the American voice of Bob the Builder. And when he got the job, he's like, "Rupert, I'm gonna try and get you on it. I'm gonna get you on it. You'd be perfect for it." And so he kept pushing for me to be on the American version of Bob the Builder, and eventually introduced me to Sarah Ball and Jackie Cockle, who were the producers of Bob the Builder. And when they found out that I wasn't actually American, that I was British, they said, "Well, why don't you do the British version as well?" And so my introduction to hot anime, and it was hot animation then, and they were based in Bristol, um, was through Bill. So it was thanks to Bill, the American voice of Bob, that he got me involved with Bob the Builder, and then from that led to working with Thomas and Friends, etc.
Because I think weren't in the US dub of the Bob the Builder film Christmas to Remember, didn't you voice Tom in the US dub? Do you remember his twin brother?
I think I might have done. Yes, I can't remember.
Oh,
I've voiced so many characters in Bob and in Thomas. You probably know much better than I do. My friend Michael Theo is a massive Thomas fan.
nice.
He's in a show called Austin on the BBC. You might have seen it. He's a neurodiverse chap who discovers his parents, played by Sally Phillips and um, the other chap, Miller. I can't think of his name, but and he's a massive Thomas fan. And Michael has said to me over lunches, "Oh, in episode 4 of season 14, when you played," and I, so you will probably know more than me, being a super fan. I just go in there, I read the scripts, I get on with it, and then I forget about it.
Yeah. So how did you get into Thomas as well? Like, what were like, when did you like first discover Thomas?
Well, that was kind of through Bob the Builder. They were looking to find some new cast members, and I knew a producer in London at the sound company called Dave Peacock, who was I was doing a lot of animation with. I did a show called Heads with him, which was on the BBC, where I voiced lots of celebrities. It was me, Tim Dan, Peter Dixon, and Kate O'Sullivan, and the characters had these big cardboard 2D faces that the actors wore. Try and check it out on YouTube. It's quite funny. It's Hedz. And it was through Heads that I think I did Thomas and met Sharon Miller. And Sharon's like, well, I think they were looking again. It was for the American version to begin with. They were looking for an American fiery Flynn, and then they realized that Flynn should be American anyway, even in the British version.
Yeah.
So, fiery Flynn to the rescue. Suddenly was we had an American in the British Thomas as well. Where's your fire? And I knew Keith Wickham. Keith Wickham's a mate of mine. We go back years, Teresa Gallagher, and that crew. And it's just being in Soho. Everybody knows everyone, and all the actors hang out, and we've all kind of grown up together, doing voiceovers and stuff. And you make yourselves a little troupe of actors. And when you're a little troupe of actors, producers and directors go, well, that's quite attractive because it means I can sort of get 5 or 6 actors with one phone call.
Yes.
Yes.
I've also heard that you were going to voice Diesel 10. Is that true?
I did do Diesel 10. I actually did record Diesel 10. And on the day of the Diesels, my voice is in there as Diesel 10. In one line as a laugh. There's a bit where I go, silly steamies. But basically what happened is the producers of Thomas thought that my Diesel 10 was a little too frightening
Oh dear.
for the kids, for the little children, which I didn't think it was. I mean,
Well, I didn't
he's
think
an
it was either. I think you should have been.
exactly. Yeah. So Matt Wilkinson did it in the end.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I remember.
But yeah. But I did record the whole thing, and I never got paid for it.
Did you get paid for Dart and Flynn though?
Oh yeah, of course. No, I mean I never got paid for Day of the Diesels, even though my voice ended up in it by accident. I think it slipped in somewhere, but I just let that
I
pass
think
because
that
I'm a nice
was the
person.
line, "The steamworks is ours now," when the steam engines burst into the steamworks.
If you say so, yes, brilliant. That
Well, I mean,
probably
that's
was
what other
it.
people have said online. I don't
It
know.
it could be. It could. I don't know, but all I know is that my Diesel 10 was sort of here, silly steamies. He was sort of there, whereas I think Matt made him a little bit more kind of camp and a little bit so here, ha 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 ha.
One
Whereas I
that,
was a bit down.
that reminds me a bit of Kerry Shale's Diesel, because remember he was Diesel.
Yes, yes. Kerry and I have known each other for many years as well. That was a lovely thing. We all worked together. Kerry, David Badella, Bill Hope, me, Keith, Teresa, Martin Sherman. Oh gosh, what's his name? Simon. Go on, give me some names.
I can't think of any
Uh,
Simons and Thomas, I'm afraid.
Alex, Stephen Stephen Kinman, Steve
Yes,
Kinman.
Stephen Kyman. He was Fireman
Yeah,
Sam at one point in
yes, that's
CGI.
right. So Stephen, I've known for years as well. Yeah. So we're all kind of, yeah, chums at work. We'd work together, then we'd sit in reception and chat about our lives and what we're doing and what we're working on, and then we'd get called back in the studio to do some more things. Michael Brandon, I met Michael Brandon for the first time in 1984 when I was 14, and he was
That's how
filming
old I am
Dempsey
now.
and Makepeace. You're 14 now.
Yes.
Wow. Well, when I was 14, I interviewed Michael Brandon for
Oh,
my school
nice.
magazine, and he was doing Dempsey and Makepeace, and he was filming in my block of flats on the flat on the same floor as I lived, and that was my first kind of introduction to television, and I loved it, and that's when I decided I'm going to be an actor. And he was lovely to me, Michael Brandon. Then years later, I worked with him on Thomas the Tank Engine, Thomas and Friends. And I said, "Do you remember a little 14-year-old boy coming and interviewing you?" And he said, "No." I said, "Well, when you remember this 14-year-old boy who came to interview you, I was that 14-year-old boy." And so
What a
that was nice.
coincidence. And I'm
And he said,
you're
"Was
being
I
interviewed.
nice?" And I said, "You were very nice. And you advised me if I wanted to be an actor to go for it. And I've gone for it. And now I'm here on Thomas and Friends with you."
That's good. And now you're being interviewed by a 14-year-old yourself.
I know, isn't it amazing?
Yes. Did you ever meet Michelangelos, though, the UK narrator? Or
I don't know. I didn't meet him. He used to do all his stuff on his own. So the narrator was done separately. So I never met Michelangelos. No, no.
What was it like in various shows, even some you might have not discussed in this interview yet, like doing like different like terms in UK and US dubs? What was that like?
Pretty much the same as doing the UK versions. You're just doing the lines again in an American accent and changing words. I remember in Bob the Builder, there was a character called Muck, and we'd say, "Let's get mucky," and that was Rob Rackstraw used to play
Yes,
Muck. And they go, "Let's get mucky," but in the American version, it was "Let's get muddy."
Mark was
Okay,
actually female in the US.
really?
Did you
Wow.
not?
Okay,
Do you remember
no, I
that?
didn't.
It was
Um,
Lachelle Cole who voiced Mark.
oh, Lachelle did Muck. Okay, well then she used to say, "Let's get muddy." And I
Yeah,
remember Rob and I did Gripper and Grabber in the UK version, and we are like two scouse guys going, all right, mate, how's it going, mate? And then for the US version, we did it as Southern kind of like, how you doing? All right, and you sir, I'm Gripper, I'm Grabber, and we kind of made him like we're from the deep South. So it's basically like Scrambler. I used to go, Scrambler was like, yeah, wicked, scram to the valley. And then in the American one was with Americans don't say wicked, so I think I said something like awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Scream to the valley, awesome. So you do the same words, but you change the vernacular for a US audience. Yeah.
because I think with Thomas, I know that had different names for the Fat Controller in the US.
So Topham Hat.
Yes,
What's that about? Why do they call him? Do you know? I think it's got something to do with the fact that the PC woke mob thought that the word fat might be offensive to people. So they went, let's just call him Sir Topham Hat. And of course, it's just daft, really, because he's fat and he's a controller. So the fat controller.
what's weird is they use Sir in the US, but at first, the fact can also Topham Hatt had an American accent in the US
Yeah.
because Kerry Shale voiced him at first.
Kerry Shell does him. I think Keith Wickham does him in the UK,
I
and
think
Kerry
later
does.
on, a few years
Yeah.
after, I think there was a bit of an overhauled voice cast, and Keith just did it in both dubs because they probably thought he's a Sir knighted by Her Majesty, so let's just.
Well, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
What are your most recent voice acting gigs?
Voice acting or animation?
Well, a bit of both. I'm
Okay, so I in 2021, 4 years ago, I did a movie called Peter Rabbit 2.
I've seen that
Um,
before. That's very good.
yeah, I play Samuel Whiskers. He's a little rat who's organising the farmers market heist. I play a big pig in that. Oh, it's a pig. That's all, mate. Don't have me. And I play a squirrel and I play a little rat, a mouse, and so that's fun. I'm in a show called Kangaroo Beach, which is an Aussie show. I live in Sydney. I live in Australia. I've been here 13 years. And so I did a show called Kangaroo Beach, which we're on season 4 of at the moment, which is again for children, but it's about water safety. And I play a koala who's the head of he's called Trev, Big Trev, and I play an otter called Gherkin, who's sort of German. He's like, oh, he's always getting into trouble, you know. I'm in a show called Ginger and the Vegosaurs, where I play a load of vegetables. What else? 100% Wolf. I did 2 seasons of that and the film of 100% Wolf, playing Hotspur and Gunolf and Lord Hightail and various characters. And I'm probably gonna think of a few. I did a Wheel of Time, the Amazon series. There was a whole lot of animations for that, sort of little things on Amazon, which I did playing the animation. But mainly I narrate audiobooks now. That's kind of my full-time thing is doing audiobooks and doing commercials, advertising. And on my YouTube and my Instagram, I do lots of characters. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I do all sorts of characters and impressions. It's not aimed at kids; it's adult comedy. But it's you should check it out. I think it's quite
I've
fun.
watched them. They're
Uh,
very good and very funny.
oh, you've seen them on Instagram, yeah. So I'm
Oh,
really
on
enjoying
YouTube, I've
those.
seen them.
Yeah,
Like the
YouTube, yeah.
David
It's,
Attenborough is very
yeah,
funny.
it's the same. I put them on YouTube and YouTube Shorts and Instagram and stuff. So I'm really enjoying doing all of that. But the audiobooks, I do about 20, 25 audiobooks a year. and I do a lot of young adult. I do a lot
Ooh,
of
gosh.
crime. I do a lot of fantasy stuff,
Mhm.
and it's great. The animation side of things dropped off a bit. I just think that there's not a lot of um, there's not a lot going on at the moment in animation. It's very expensive to make animation. It's very hard to do, and it's takes up a lot of time. And I don't live in Sydney anymore. I've moved to the country and I work from home from my studio that I'm talking to you now on. And so a lot of animation, they kind of want you in the room, and I can't do that anymore because I don't live near the city anymore. So it's a long way to go and do some animation. Um, I did a film recently called My Freaky Family, which is great fun with Ardal O'Hanlon and the girl who played Luna in Harry Potter. I can't think of her name, Irish actress. And that was great fun. I don't know if it's been released in the UK yet, but I play the villain Volos. And I kind of do him a bit like Donald Trump. Sort of the whole villain's a bit sort of here. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. And we're gonna have a great time. It's very tremendous. It's a big, beautiful film. So that's kind of what I do. And yeah, I just every day's an adventure.
Because I've also talking of Harry Potter, like you mentioned, I think that weren't you in a Harry Potter video game voicing some characters in it?
Yeah, I did Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, playing Professor Snape. So I had to push my thread in with my fingers like this so I could get that Alan Rickman sort of voice, and then I'd go, Hermione Granger, you are not sort of this, and I played Voldemort, and I had to push my face back and Avada Kedavra, the boy who lived. And then I played Hagrid as well. So it was like, you're like, all right, Harry, how are you? Oh, there we go. And we're going to go do that. And Robbie Coltrane and Alan Rickman and Ray Fiennes had to approve my auditions. And they all three approved me. So I ended up playing all three parts. So that was a bonus because I got three fees.
Because I think of what I know, the only like actor like from the films that I know of to have reprised their role in that game was Rupert Grint.
Yeah, that's it. Rupert Grint's the only one. Everybody else was recast.
The two Ruperts in one video game.
The two, I know, right? It's an unusual name. And I've never met Rupert Grint and he doesn't know who I am. So one day we'll cross paths, I'm sure.
Well, once he crossed paths with I think I don't know if they ever met but I think he was at he both he and Stephen Kyman were in. Have you heard of a show called Postman Pat?
Yeah, of course. My friend Lewis McLeod does Postman Pat.
Oh, nice. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know you was a friend. So yeah,
Oh,
basically,
Lewis and I are very good chums. We're close mates, and we go back a long time. He was at my wedding, and yeah, absolutely. Yes.
yeah, I think there was actually a movie of it starring Rupert Grint.
Oh, really?
So all of you guys have just been in stuff that you haven't realised.
Oh,
Just,
that's maybe, yes.
yeah, what is your advice to anyone that wants to do voice acting in future?
Oh, well, you've picked a right old time to ask me that question. AI is coming like a freight train, and it's the if you'd asked me this 2 years ago, I would have given you a totally different answer. Um, I would have said, do some stuff, have some fun, play with your voice, work a bit, um, make your own animations, make your own fun stuff online, put it on Instagram, put it on YouTube. In fact, still do that. I'd still say that. However, now I will change my outlook and say that the chances of actually making a living from it now are very, very slim, slim to nothing, because AI is going to replace about 50% of the voice talent in the world, and the other 50% is going to be scrambling for very few jobs, and the people with the most experience are going to be hired, or the best people are. And I think unless you have a specific talent like I do, or Lewis, or Keith, or the crew we've been talking about, unless you can manipulate your voice and you're a good actor and you can read scripts, and you need to be good at everything now. If you're just a voice guy, or you just an actor, or you just do impressions, or you but you so if you do impressions but you can't act, or you've got a nice voice but you can't do any other voices, or you can do loads of voices but you can't read a script, it's not going to happen. Because anybody, if you can get AI to do something half as good as a real person, they're going to get AI. And unfortunately, there's a lot of voice actors out there who aren't brilliant, and they're working. And then, I'm not saying they're not great, but only the best are going to survive now.
Mm,
What we're talking about, if you can imagine a football team of 22 players, and along come 11 robots that are
mm,
better than the worst 11 in the team. If you want to be in the team, you've got to be in the best. You've got to be the best player on the team. And if you aren't as good as the other players, you're going to be replaced by a robot. It's exactly what's happening. So my advice would be careful
mm,
what you want, because it's going to be a really, really, really tough game. And I would say, if you want to do it for fun, go for it. Of course, do it for fun. But if you want to pay the bills with it, be prepared to not make it. Be prepared to, I would say you'd be far better off trying to pick something that a robot and AI can't do, like cook, or build a house, or fix cars, or whatever. Even robots will fix cars eventually. But it, it's a really tough question because the world is changing so fast. I don't know. I really don't know. I've noticed, excuse me, just in the last 6 months, I've noticed a proliferation of AI voices in things.
mm,
Amazon have just recorded 50,000 audiobooks with AI.
mm.
And so, I mean, what do you say to someone who says, I want to be an audiobook narrator? Oh, well, Amazon's just paid 50,000, done 50,000 books, and it hasn't cost them anything because it's a predictive generative AI's done it. So it's a bit depressing. And I'm in my 50s, and I've had a good run, and I don't know how many years I've got left in this game. I every day I'm like, okay, well, am I ever going to do animation again? Am I ever going to do another series? So if you ask me what would a 14-year-old do who wants to get into it, or a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old with 30, 40 years ahead of them, and I'm worried about the next 5 to 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Only a few voices, but I think some they actually did consider getting AI, like in Wallace and Gromit. I think a new film came out last Christmas, and they considered just using Peter Sallis, the old actors. Just they considered just thinking, let's just use his AI voice, but they didn't in the end. But
Oh, really? Because they could have scraped him because he died, right? So
yeah,
they could have made an AI version of him, but it would lack some nuance. And it's not, yeah, I think they probably could have done it, but they would have had to have paid his family, his estate, his widow, his children, etc. But so they've recast it with someone doing an impression of Peter Sallis, which I think is probably a better thing to do. That's a more honorable thing to do. But the technology is definitely there to say, if a person dies who's got, a voice like Wallace, and they can live forever, because you can just take all of his recordings, put it into AI, and then put a brand new script in, and you've got Peter Sallis back to life.
yeah. I mean, it can be kind of disrespectful in a way to the
It
voices.
can be, but this is business we're talking about. This is show business, and there's not a lot of respect in the business I work in. It's very cutthroat. I mean, lots of nice people, but there's also lots of horrid people too. It's not all flowers and cupcakes. It's a tough business. There's a lot of money in it. You can be flavor of the month one day, they'll build you up, and then, it might take 10 years, 20 years to build your career, and it could take a second to knock it down.
So, yeah. One question. This isn't so. If this seems random at all, it's actually something I'm kind of curious about. It's Do you think you did more voices like with American characters or with British characters?
Across all the animation I've done,
Or most of it.
across
Yeah.
across every animation I've done, it's mainly American. because that's the market that they want to sell. Like when I did Lucky Fred, it was all American. Chop Socky Chooks, American. Groove High, I played an English character and an Indian, but I also played Americans. Bob the Builder did British and American. Thomas, British and American. Robot Boy was all American. Apart from Constantine, I did him as Spanish. But Gus was American and Kurt. You know, so pretty much every animation show I've done, a part of Blinky Bill was Australian, but even in Blinky Bill there was an American character and an Hispanic character. So I think I tend to play a lot of Americans because I'm half American. So I get cast to do American accents. And if you want to sell your British animated show to the American market, you've got to have one or two or three American characters voiced by genuine Americans, and then I tick that box.
Because I think, but also with like in the I've heard that in Bob the Builder you voiced most of the characters, like you said, you voiced in both dubs, like Scrambler, Gripper, and Grabber. But I think I've seen on like online that I think I've seen, like I said, there are some voices that you just voiced in the US. But I think there are a couple of characters like, do you remember Bristle, the road cleaner?
Bristle Whistle, wasn't I? Didn't I do him in an Irish accent? Wasn't he like
I think that was
Ritz?
Flex you did in the Irish accent.
Oh, Flex, that's right. Yes. Oh, Bristle, was it Bristle? Bristle Whistle was hello. Yeah, it was that one, I think. Clean as a bristle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah, I don't. Did I do that in the American dub?
I think I've seen that you just voiced you were just you were Flex just and Bristol just in the UK and US because I think you had Vincent Marzello and Mark Silk in the US.
Oh, okay. Vincent's no
Which,
longer with us. He died a few years ago as well, sadly.
yes,
Yeah,
'cause I
I knew
think
Vince very well. Vince and his wife Lorelei.
hmm,
Yeah,
wasn't she the US voice of Wendy, Laura
yeah,
Lake?
yeah. Lorelei King, yeah, lovely woman. Big, massive audiobook reader. She's prolific, very prolific audiobook reader as well. And she and Vincent been married for years. Very sad when he died. Yeah, they're all going one.
Hmm.
They get June Whitfield, Richard Bryars. They're gone too. Yeah.
I think I remember there was a special called When Bob Became a Builder, and it was, I remember I have a lot of nostalgia for that. And you voiced Scrambler, and I remember he was helping Dizzy and Lofty clear the beach, and that was
Yeah, that's
a lot
right. That's right. Yeah.
a lot of nostalgia for me. It was
Oh,
scrambling.
a lot of nostalgia. Where you're talking about is bringing back all the memories. I can visualize it now in my head, sitting there in the studio with the actors, and we at Wild Tracks in Frith Street in Soho, just off Soho Square, and we do a run through of the script just as a rehearsal, and we get out all the giggle stuff and all the innuendo, and then we record a take, and then we do pickups, and then we move on to the next script. And we used to record 4 scripts in about 2 hours.
With Wild Tracks, what was that? I've seen it credited
It's
before.
a studio. It's a post house. It was on the second floor at 55 Frith Street, or it might have been Greek Street. It's either Frith or Greek Street. I can't remember. I think Greek Street. And it was a recording studio. They had 5 studios, and I think they had two in the basement as well. Yeah, and it was all the sound engineers were there. Richard Spooner, Richard Nathan, Graham Pickford. Scatoony was the big show that I did at Wild Tracks with the guys from Cartoon Network, and that was with Graham Pickford. And I played Chudders. Hey, has anyone seen my glasses? If you don't know about Scatoony, check it out. It's brilliant. It's probably the most favorite animation I've ever done. It's just me and Lewis. Lewis and I play all the characters.
McLeod was
And
that?
yeah, Lewis McLeod and I play hundreds of characters between the two of us. And I've just dropped every single episode that we ever did on YouTube on another channel, my friends' channels who are the Scatoony crew, Scatoony UK crews. You got to check that out when you can.
So which actors would have recorded at Wild Tracks, but which ones were like in the US?
Everyone recorded at Wild Tracks. Wild Tracks was where they recorded Bob the Builder, and Sound Company was where they recorded Thomas and Friends. So everything was recorded at Wild Tracks. So I remember I met Elton John there when he was recording for Bob the Builder. He was leaving as I was arriving, and we passed each other in the corridor and said hello and shook hands. And that was the only time I met Elton John. Yeah, so Neil Morrissey and Rob and Kate Harbour and I would rock up to Wild Tracks, and we'd have a cup of coffee and order some lunch, and then we get in the booth, we do some acting, and that I'd also be at Wild Tracks doing promos for Cartoon Network, promos for Paramount Comedy Channel, and you'd have a reception area, and there'd be loads of actors coming in and out, going to do jobs. It was a real happy times, happy days back in the 90s and the 2000s. Happy days.
So you met Neil, did you? Neil Morrissey and Bob the Builder.
I work with Neil all the time. Yeah, Neil's a chum. Yeah. No, Neil's a friend. When he comes to Australia, we always go out for dinner. His wife's Australian, and so yeah, no, Neil and I've known each other for 20 odd years. Yeah, 25 years now. Yeah, and Rob and Kate, we're all friends. We all stayed in touch. You know.
And also, I think, did you ever meet Greg Proops and Mark Silk, the later voices of Bob?
Yes, of course. Yeah. I worked with Mark on Rory the Racing Car, the first series of Rory the Racing Car before I got fired. And
You were
that's a
going to
long
be on Roy
story.
the Racing Car, were you?
I wasn't. Yeah, I was. I was in the first series, and then they sacked me and replaced me. And the reason why they sacked me was because I was doing a play in the West End, and I wasn't available to go to Manchester to record the second series. Because the producers of the play in the West End wouldn't let me go to Manchester, and so they had to re-record it with another actor, and I got replaced. So they
Who
fired
were
me,
you?
and
Who were you going to voice in Rory? Because I've
can't
not.
remember. Can't remember. I'm trying to block that time out of my life because it
Oh,
was very painful.
yeah.
Yeah, it was that they treated me pretty appallingly, actually.
That was
Um,
is in Roy the Racing Car.
what's that?
That was Peter Kay in Roy the Racing
Yeah, it
Car.
was Peter Kay, Mark Silk. So that's where I met Mark. But I used to meet Mark at the Wild Tracks because he used to do uh, stuff on Johnny Bravo and stuff like that. And Greg Proops. Yeah, I met Greg a couple of times. Didn't really know him personally. Probably just had a drink with him in the pub maybe once or twice. Yeah.
Because I think but with Elton John, I think because he was in A Christmas to Remember, but I thought, but with that, I think he voiced John in both UK and US dubs in the same voice.
He did.
Yes.
Well, I did.
Or John did. Elton John did.
Elton John. Elton would have only done himself because he's famous, isn't he? He would have just played himself. He wouldn't have done an American
Oh,
accent.
yes. Because I
Yeah.
think, but also in the UK dub of A Christmas to Remember, Maria Darling, who voiced Dizzy and Brody in the US dub, remember her?
I know Maria very well. I've known Maria for years. Yes.
She well, she actually voiced Tom Bob's brother's snowmobile in both dubs of the A Christmas
Ah,
special, and in a British accent in the UK dub, and her voice in the UK sounds nothing like a UK
no.
a US voice because
Wow.
at that point you now I'm saying she was good in the US dub, but I think because it was her native accent in the UK dub when
Yeah.
she was voicing the snowmobile, there's a lot you hear a lot of energy and a lot of
Oh
both.
yeah. Well, I think we were like Teresa, Maria. We were all in Gumball because I did the Amazing World of Gumball. I did the first couple of seasons of that as well. So
Wasn't Kerry
we
Shale in that?
Yeah,
The
Kerry was
original.
in Gumball. Yeah, I was in Gumball. Lewis McLeod was in Gumball. We all did it. I mean, you got to understand, we're a small group of actors that would go around and we were in all the shows. So we all knew each other. We were all kind of chums and we'd all work together on various different series. And so it was lovely.
Yeah, way. See, all that was good of you to tell me that you know all of the actors and sorry if I didn't prepare any questions for this. I just stuff
No,
just
no, it's
came into
good. It's nice to have a chat. It's just having a friendly chat. It doesn't have to be questions and answers, just a
yes
friendly chat.
because
You should reach out.
my dad did recommend me prepare some questions, but I think I knew what I was going to ask. I was very
Yeah, no,
interested in hit and all that.
no, that's good. And what you should reach out to some of the other actors as well if you can, and just say that you've interviewed me, and could they be a guest on your podcast?
Well, yes, I can't find many of the others online, but I'm
You'll
sure you
find
know.
them. They're on Instagram.
Nice.
DM them on Instagram and drop my name.
Well, I'll just keep this call on, but I think we'll just need to say goodbye to the viewers. So yes,
Okay.
so, so yes, goodbye, viewers, and yes, and thanks for watching, and it's great to interview Rupert. So,
Thanks for watching, everybody, and keep watching animation and supporting us actors who need the work.
see you later, guys.